All lizard men, yes.
Right? Just play it like an RPG, right? It's like, hey, this armor has the best stats, right? so I'm bikini clad because like
I was gonna say.
right.
We're live, by the way, live-ish.
We are live, yeah. Bikini clad for that dodge factor.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Whispers of Doom.
Dynamic lizard bikini.
What? What did you say?
There's so much background noise after you
There
held
was
that.
so many things that happened.
Yeah. We all kind of just were like,
I'll have to listen back to that.
Inject.
My audio overwhelm just came in real hard.
My cat ran away, and I have headphones on, so that must have been real loud.
It could hear through the.
Yeah.
This is pre-recorded, just FYI. So deal with it. Come join us in the Discord chat or just in the chat and Twitch. Some of us will be there hanging out while this is playing. So, I don't know what to say. I'm sorry, I can't help but think about Brip's character dying now, so our listeners can make his next character, which is an idea he came up with. So, if Brip dies, you can spend biddies to make his character for him. 1,000 bits! You can do that! That'd be pretty cool.
Whatever you want.
Everybody wants to volunteer for that, but he did. So,
Sorry, no.
that's the thing.
If half
no
of our
pressure, no
characters
pressure.
die, I mean, we have a salad we can make. We have frog legs. There's a lot of variety here. We're a very edible party.
Long
If,
pig and
Giddy goes undead, we'd have some gabagool.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, we're here to play 7 Dooms for Sandpoint. So let's do that, shall we?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay, cool. Any
I don't think we
announcements?
introduced ourselves last
Oh.
time, so we should do that this time.
Yeah, let's do
You don't get any banner today, everybody. Goodbye.
No, we're jumping. Jumping
Foreplay.
in.
Who are you? Who are you playing? Ready, set. Go.
My name is Dylan. I'm playing Calliope Danmuir. He was a human champion of Pharasma. She's excited to be here, and we'll find out more about that soon.
Who you gonna kick it to?
I'll kick it to Nick.
You could tell
Let's
I was
get back into
chomping
that.
at the bit, huh?
Yeah, well, you're the next in line in my on my screen. So,
Hello,
yeah.
everybody. My name is Nick. I sometimes go by Big Red, and I'm playing Brip, the Trip Key Ranger. And he has had a life change recently with recent events. And hopefully I can portray that correctly.
Interesting. Okay. Who's next?
I'm going to throw it to Cody.
Hi, my name is Cody. I am playing Giddy Gidzak Shatterglass. Scarnetti is technically his full name. And he is a goblin summoner with his Hellcat Ignara. And Giddy is tired of all this shit after getting nearly incinerated multiple times in this most recent expedition. So with that being said, I'm going to kick it over to the Salad Man.
Leshy. Yes, I'm Jacob, aka Spellcrashers in the chat, and I am playing Silflay, a Leshy Oracle who did not die last session. Very, very close though.
And I'm Robert, the
Yeah.
Game Master. And are you all ready to live by,
Live by
the
the die,
die,
die by the
die by the
die.
Oh, excuse me.
This is Gesundheit. This is rude.
Yeah, sorry about that. That just
also
that really just
Snuck
came out of
ya.
nowhere. It got me.
Better out than in.
last episode gave
sneak
you
attack.
indigestion. All those
Yeah,
combusted
that's
and all that ash.
Welcome to my daily fucking life.
The life of this podcast is now called Gamers Over 30.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
I'm eyeing myomeprazole as we speak.
Oh my god, I just started taking omeprazole again.
Do you suffer from heartburn?
No, you gotta really channel your inner Larry the Cable Guy here. You suffer from heartburn or indigestion? Get you some Prilosec.
That's one I haven't tried.
Is he doing that?
I mean, he was for a while.
Okay. I haven't
do
watched
the
a real
recap.
commercial in a
How
long
about
time.
that?
Sorry.
Shut up. Yeah.
Post intro ban.
You chuckle fucks. All right, so pretty long recap here just to kind of reset ourselves and the mindset of where we are in the game and why our characters are here and what they're doing. So let's get to it. Oh, hello. It's me. But not me. No, it's me. It's me. Probably wondering what the fuck's going on. I'll tell you what the fuck's going on. I fucked up the recap. And thanks to the magic of video editing, specifically Jacob's Da Vinci skills, we're able to throw this in. So thank you, Jacob. I appreciate your skills. Check him out. His handle is Spell Crashers on everything, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, let's jump into this better recap, this more articulated, except if I could fucking talk. That's it. Some things just don't change, people. So, last episode, our heroes discovered a hidden room deep beneath the Boneyard and Sandpoint Cathedral in those Thessalonian ruins. Calliope noticed the outline of a door, frame, and wall, so burned through that it caked in place. She swiped her finger across it to show her companions, only for it to crumble at her touch. Beyond was a green egg or bulb carved into the wall with a tangle of tentacles or roots that splayed out from it. From inside, its Iron Maiden-like space fell an ancient skeleton along with a palm-sized jade serpent to the floor. The torture device had another purpose, it seems, and that was to act as an altar of worship to a clip-off lord named Yamasoth. Finding nothing else, they turned to explore the rest of the facility. They fought a gargoyle-like creature with gold-colored horns and wielding a battle axe. Calliope called it a divine warden, a construct built with the blessings of powerful deities, typically, set to guard, protect, or follow the orders of zealots, clerics, or priests. This divine warden was seemingly devout construct to Hagenti, demon lord of alchemy. The group destroyed it, but not before succumbing to its death throw, an explosion of the divine energies that had animated it. Moving northward, they found a stone door with the carved image of a robed woman in a powerful stance wielding a rancer and a 7-pointed star as her backdrop. The Rune Lord of Wrath, named a Lazinist. The door opened with ease to reveal a short rectangular-shaped room and a large step up to a platform that had 2 other doors on the east and west, each with a handle that had a small metal basket. Sylphlay fiddled with placing the garnets they found previously in the baskets, but as nothing seemed to happen, retrieved them. Calliope then opened the door on the western side of the room, which released a fan of flaming beams from the ceiling above, engulfing Giddy, Calliope, and caused Sylphlay to fall unconscious and wounded from the brief inferno. Calliope jumped to heal Sylphlay, and the group decided it would be better to leave, rest, regroup, and come up with a plan. They ventured back up through the tunnel to the Boneyard to rest in the cathedral itself, and that is where we start our episode today. Alright, Jacob, magic time! Do the blur. Flash stuff, blurry flash stuff. I don't know. Okay, that's it. Bye-bye. You eventually make your way back out and find yourselves resting in the cathedral now. Bruised, battered, bloodied, but at least clean, thanks to Sylphlay's consistent use of prestidigitation every time you come up or get into a skirmish. Where are you guys in the cathedral? You know that there's like this open air kind of courtyard in the center where you guys had met with Father Xantus to eat lunch, but where are you licking your wounds?
I would say it's almost an obsessive use of prestidigitation at this point. I know that when we came back, Sylphlay would have gone back to the garden to sort of rest and lay down and kind of almost be, just fully blend in with the plants there, sort of to be unnoticed in public. And also just to have that, if there's a garden, it's got a good view of the sun, even if it's later in the day, so catching those last rays. But just to kind of be alone in nature within the city. I think the others would know where she is, though. But Sylphlay, despite being cleaned up, is still charred, pun intended, and not sleeping, but resting within the garden.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that the courtyard at the center of the cathedral would have like benches and places for people to kind of sit and lounge and converse. It's quiet. It's relatively peaceful.
I'm in the plants. I am not on a bench.
Yeah. So where's Brip?
I imagine Brip, he would have climbed up, and maybe he's like sitting up from an advantage point, up, hanging on something like he would on a tree in the swamp. Where when he's sleeping, he would sleep under the moonlight, like he would back home, and just he's looking for a sense of comfort and purpose. And he wanted to reflect up high and where he would be comfortable. And yeah, so he's perched up somewhere.
Okay. Is that somewhere in the
courtyard?
In the courtyard? Okay, gotcha. You could even be on top of the stones, the 7 standing stones if you wanted, or on any of the pillars surrounding it. Maybe.
Yeah,
I can
I imagine
that.
wherever's kind of the highest, best vantage point.
Okay, yeah. Any of the standing stones, unless you want to get onto the roof. I like the image of Brip kind of laid out on top of the tallest standing stone, kind of just looking up at the clouds as they pass by.
Yeah, and he's tying. Imagine just breathing slow as the wind goes by, and he's just taking in the clouds and analyzing the last couple days.
Quiet contemplation. Cool.
Self-reflecting, finding himself.
What about Giddy?
Yeah, Giddy, after everyone came back, he crashed onto this massive cushion that he found near some of the benches and such. I'll think like a beanbag kind of thing, but not quite a beanbag. More just like a giant pillow, just face first. And he asked Melissa, unfortunately, for a drink. And she came back with not alcohol, which made him a little sad inside. But he was...
Not even watered down communion wine.
Right, something. But he just fell straight down into the cushion and, thoughts were running through his mind of... What am I doing here? Why am I even taking this job? Just because Titus says so. I nearly got killed several times.
Is he talking out loud? Because he seems like the kind of person to be talking out loud.
Okay.
Every once in a while, he'll be thinking it and then just something will blurt out.
Yeah.
It's not all of it's coming out, and it's kind of like into the pillow.
Yeah.
That's good.
So every once in a while from Giddy, you just hear fucking almost dying shit and coming from inside the pillow, muffled. And then Ignara is nearby, and every once in a while she'll kind of whip her tail by Giddy to remind him that she's there. just as some form of comfort.
Therapy cat.
Kind of therapy cat in a way, but the problem is Ignara is also made of fire. So after recent events, Giddy's not really a fan of flame after being almost incinerated several times. So Giddy's just having a time right now, half muttering into this cushion and also like every once in a while feeling different parts of his body where the burns were or still are.
Okay.
I think that leaves if you're all finished up.
Mhm.
Yeah. While this is going on, I think Calliope is going back to her personal quarters. She's spent some time in the main area of the cathedral, refocusing, saying some prayers, getting back in touch with her deity Pharasma. And after doing so, while the others have kind of spread out through the courtyard there, she's gone back to her quarters and has washed her face. Without that makeup on, you can see she's got this hawkish face with pointed features and gaunt cheekbones and very narrow face. And she goes through this procedure of washing her face specific amount of times. It's all very deliberate, no wasted motion, and dries her face off with an old tattered towel. Looks like it's been used 1,000 times. Reapplies her makeup again in this very deliberate fashion. Mostly white, white all over the face, the black stripe across across her eyes, and then 5 vertical lines and the suggestion of a teeth, all in black. So she's got her fresh face paint on. She's all refocused, and I see her coming out of her quarters, essentially rejuvenated and ready to keep tackling whatever is going to be happening, and walks out of her quarters into the main courtyard and kind of sees Giddy asleep but shouting into the pillow, and takes that in and looks up and sees Brip and is kind of just looking at her compatriots that she can see, assuming that Souffle is not super visible to her. She's probably not overly searching for her, just assuming she's around here as well. So she kind of just looks at her newfound friends and smiles a little bit, but it's not a super joyful smile. She's a little apprehensive about what's going to be happening. She's thankful for her time with them and appreciates what they've been able to do, but she's not sure what the future is going to hold. So she's a little uneasy, but she walks into the center of this area and maybe finds a seat, patiently waits to see what's going to happen. She's not going to interrupt anyone, but as the time comes for us to reconvene, she will be available to converse.
Okay. Yeah, Britt, maybe you notice out of the corner of your eye that Calliope comes out and sits quietly on a bench nearby. Souffle, you'd probably see that too. Giddy, maybe not so much with your head buried into a pillow. Maybe after a few minutes of kind of just like taking deep sighs and you find yourself maybe getting a little bored, you kind of finally prop your head up and look around, see Calliope, Brip also.
Yeah. Eventually, after Giddy's gotten most of it out of his system, he like looks up kind of with one eye out of the pillow, just kind of looking around just to see what's going on. His eyes are like bloodshot.
Was he crying too?
A little bit here and there. Giddy, every once in a while, in the midst of screaming into the pillow, was like cry screaming. Like, hey, didn't listen to me about the door.
Poor Giddy.
No one ever listens to the goblin.
Yeah, I mean-
imagine seems
Go
like a very like somber vibe Everyone's kind of. We've been through a lot together in a short amount of time. And I think, caring for new people so much is kind of a new thing for Brip. And
To give you guys some perspective, you've only been together for about 5 days, maybe 6, less than a week.
Or trauma bonding.
yeah.
Pretty much.
Real
And
fast.
now we're all like self-reflecting through it,
Exactly.
Like there's nothing to even be said at the moment. We're all just like taking it in.
Not wrong.
Well,
Yeah, I think if
go
a
ahead.
couple hours have passed, pretty much once the sun hits that angle to where the rays of light are no longer cascading through the open roof or whatever. I'm assuming it's an open roof
It
of
is,
this
yeah.
cathedral.
Mhm.
Once the sun rays are past that, I think I would sit up and sort of survey my surroundings and see, some of my companions or all of them. And I imagine I'm probably late to whatever gathering is beginning because I waited till the sun is down. But I would make my way over with my head kind of cast down. But I would make my way over to that. They were like I would be probably the last one there because of how long I waited.
I don't think there was any set meeting or anything like that.
No,
Everybody was
but
kind of just, hanging out.
Maybe in the morning.
Calliope probably chose the bench nearest the sobbing goblin.
Sobbing goblin.
like,
That's gonna be the bar we all start together.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah. Yeah, she wants to be near but doesn't know how to comfort Giddy through that. And so she's like, I'm here, but so is Ignara. And when he finds it in him to poke that one eye out like he does, he'll come over. So
How close would you say Calliope is to where Giddy's at?
it's probably 10 feet, 12 feet. Not like right next to, but
Okay.
enough space that she's not trying to crowd you for sure.
I think at this point, Giddy would get up from the cushion, eyes a hot mess. Like you could tell that he's been crying, but he's also trying to hide it. Then he walks over to where Calliope's at and just kind of hops up on the bench next to her. Iggy follows along and lays at Giddy's feet, almost like to the point where she's almost a stool for Giddy's feet. And then Giddy, while sniffling, kind of looks over at Calliope and sees a long piece of her garment and just kind of very subtly grabs it and starts to wipe his face with it to clear up some of the mess.
And she doesn't pull back. She kind of lets you, maybe leans into it a little bit to allow some extra slack for you to soil her clothing. And
It's like-
Covered in goblin snot and tears.
In Calliope's mind, she's just like, I'll ask Sylphe. She can clean this up. I know she'll probably clean it up before I even have to ask. But she does say, this past week has been more eventful than I could have expected. How are you holding up?
Giddy looks up at Calliope with the bloodshot giant goblin eyes and just like, I'm doing okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to assume.
I just feel a little confused and frustrated, I think. I think that's where I'm at.
That's completely understandable. given that these are all very unique and new situations we've all faced this week. I don't blame you at all.
This was
So-
supposed to be such an easy job, and it's turned into whatever the hell all that was.
Yeah, quite literally. Whatever the hell. Many, many hells we faced below the boneyard, and though I can't ask you to continue if you don't wish, I know that I will. Hopefully this time, this reflection period allows you to reassess and see what might need to be done. Though I won't force you to continue. Fighting down below with you has been as successful as I could have expected, so I would love to continue on with you, but I understand if things call you elsewhere.
Well, I appreciate your understanding, Calliope. I do. I don't know. I don't know. On one hand, no, forget about it. Forget it.
I won't press. Again, there's no rush. No need to go back below immediately. We'll know so much more soon. I will anyway, and that will help me make future decisions once I can speak with Aldrani and get this record set straight.
I think at this time you see a shape kind of cresping through the plants as Silflay is walking up, and it just happens to align with sort of like a timid passerby that seems to have finally worked up the courage to like sit down next to Calliope on the other side away from Giddy. And you just see there's a standoff of this little 3-foot person with this scary mask, burly burnt, staring at this human that's been timid, and they just run off as I walk up and sit down on the bench next to you. Just shake my head as the person jots off.
Ah.
So now the three of you are sitting together?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I imagine the conversation was within earshot.
Yeah, I'm sure you
Yeah.
could have heard, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Rip kind of gets up and kind of slips down and slides down next to Giddy. And he kind of puts a balled fist kind of gently on Giddy's leg and kind of bounces it a couple times. I know what we went through was tough. But we're tough too. And if we have to go back and face anything like that again, I guarantee you we'll go back better, more prepared. I won't let anything like that happen again.
Well, I appreciate what you're saying, Brip. What are we doing? Why are we risking our lives for this?
So we have nothing else to risk our lives for. At least I don't.
This whole town is the reason I'm willing to put my life on the line. I've been entrusted to keep watch on things happening outside. But now the trouble's in the town. And I feel a calling to this. Sandpoint and my home have always had a connection. We've always looked out for each other. And it's my turn now.
I can appreciate those feelings for both of you. And, well, I suppose I just have a little more of a complicated relationship with this city than some others.
I think you and I are more alike than you think. I
Kind of look around, see if there's anyone within earshot or anyone actively listening. And kind of look back at you.
I don't want to say it here, but I have a my relationship is not as clean with this town as you would expect. But this is an opportunity to see if I can right my direction.
This
What
town's history has its own stains.
That was before I ever came here, but what I will say here is that what happened down there is not unlike what happened before to me. And that's put a lot in perspective. And I would be lying to say that despite that experience, I feel like that's what I deserve. So if I continue to go into it, maybe I can come out the other side better. And if I die along the way, then honestly, I don't care that much at this point.
That's a lot. Well, what about you, Clyde? You're not really from here.
No, I'm not, but I believe this is bigger than me. I was tasked to come here by something that I believe wholeheartedly in. A deity, a culture, a way of life. That's not something that I will ever turn my back on. So, knowing that that's the reason I'm here, that's all I need. I'll be here to save this town from whatever happens until I'm called elsewhere. If I die, then that was what Pharasma had planned. If I don't, I'll serve her in another mission elsewhere. But I'm not worried about myself, that is. Like I was saying to Giddy before, Brip, I'm sure you heard, and Sofle, I'm not sure if you did, but I know what I need to do, and that's to stay here and perhaps go under the boneyard again, but at least see this potential ritual through. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure on that ritual still, but I'll be here, involved in whatever is going on until I'm called for. I've sent word to my superior back at the Grand Cathedral of Pharasma in Corvosa. They're up to date on what's going on here, as of yesterday, anyway. Feel sending another letter the next day might be a little overkill, so I will wait until further instructions arrive, but until then, I will continue on. I can't ask all of you to do that. If you wish to, I'd be more than pleased to stand by your side as we go below, but I will not force you to.
It's not a question of going below, but why we're going below. I don't trust.
Kind of look around, lean in a little bit so I can whisper, drop my tone.
If you prefer, we could go to my quarters. I'm not sure if that's preferable. We could speak more freely that way.
I would be more comfortable with that.
Cut 2. We're there.
Yeah, you do that.
Perfect.
Brip
Yes.
is jumping on your bed.
What's your
It's
what's the
really
room look
shitty.
like?
There's almost no. It's very sparse. There's like she has a little backpack there. There's a little table in the corner. It's essentially not even a full desk. It's just a nightstand that's a little bit taller. There's a bowl that has the water in it from when she washed her face, and that really old cloth is folded very, very nicely beside it. It's still very tattered. Um, and then her bag is on the floor there, and then a bed that is hard as a rock. So, Brip, you're basically jumping on something that doesn't have a lot of give to it.
The
but
bounce is just in his legs.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a very ancient straw mattress. I'm sure that's been in the cathedral for a long time.
Is there a
Mattress
window
that's a
in this
pad.
room, by chance?
Uh, yes.
Excellent. Giddy is looking outside the window like that Chihuahua meme where it's like staring out a rainy window, and then the caption is something like "Waiting on my husband to return from the war." That's essentially Giddy staring out the window right now, sullen.
I envisioned it like a prison window where it's like really high up and like just a little slit. But if you prefer it to be that type of window,
That honestly works
Yeah,
too.
okay,
It just Giddy had to makeshift a ladder of objects to get up there.
all right. Now that we're here, Calliope looks back at Silflay and is.
Yeah,
Have our
You were
attention.
saying we're not. It's not about going below. You please
I've
continue.
taken a position of the single chair that you have for the desk to where I'm sitting in it, but like I didn't turn the chair around, so I'm too small to straddle it. So I'm just sitting with my knees up and using the desk as a backrest as I'm kind of holding it. And so like it's almost like the chair is separating me, and I'm just like you can see the upper half of my mask over the back of the chair.
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust Xantus at this point. We've discussed it before, but the deities down below, the demonic presence, or perhaps fiendish, right? All the references to the seven, it's Xantus's interest at first. Redemption of Nualia. That's something I can stand behind. I'm trying to redeem myself. But I just have a bad feeling. I hope I'm wrong.
I also don't trust Father Xantus. I think that the ritual is a bad idea, but I will follow you guys down there nonetheless.
Giddy, your thoughts on the ritual?
Giddy atop the mountain of objects that he's built, looking out the window. It's just like, I mean, I don't really trust this Xantus guy either at this point in time. Based on everything we saw below, and just, I don't know, he feels like he's dodging questions.
Yes, I do agree with all of you. I've been made very uneasy by his actions, his words, but I do trust Adrani quite a lot, and her word carries a lot of sway in my opinion, so I'm trying my best to reserve judgment until I can speak with her, until we all can speak with her. Because I would not like to have a conversation without you there at this point. So, she arrives tomorrow. For the time being, we can mistrust all we want, but I'm hopeful more light will be shed on this situation after we can speak with Adrani.
Do we just wait? Do we go back down? I am curious what is down there. I don't understand why these ruins are below the city, especially with all of the history. The more just tales I've heard, things that you've explained. I've been here, but I I'm so caught up in the present, I haven't really paid attention to the past all that much.
I'll say the only reason I would go down below again is if there's more ghouls that need to be relieved of life. They're unlife. I don't know. I've never really found a good way besides just saying I need to go kill them. Sometimes I try to be a little bit more eloquent, but at
Perhaps
the
you
end of
have
the
to
day,
purge undeath.
oh, I'm going to steal that one. I will not be giving you credit. I'm sorry. I need to come off more intimidating, so
Based on our last encounter down there, it's important that we rest up and get prepared before we go down a second time or a third time.
yeah, this would be the third.
It has
There
proven
was
to best us, so we must.
Yeah, until we know. We open the door, or I apologize. I open the door. I take full responsibility.
It's a good
And
first step.
he kind of, or Jesus. Who am I playing? Calliope kind of looks over at Silflay and is. I open the door, and I'm sorry. I should have checked better. Don't have an eye for this thing. I was rushing. Like you said, the curiosity has gotten the better of me. More curious. I lost focus. So, if we do go back below, I know that we open that door. That clearly leads to something. Once that's investigated, if we can eventually find an end to these doors, and we just leave the two long secret passages, I'll feel more confident. But the curiosity might get the better of me until then. So going below is an option, but it doesn't have to happen. That's my opinion.
I don't know if we should hold any of us at fault. We all chose to go down there. I don't hold you at fault. I was there by choice.
Still, actions have consequences whether or not choices are made one way or another. I'm not sure if I'm making sense. Probably not. I don't often do. Even that sentence didn't make sense. I'm gonna stop talking now. And she just kind of like looks down at the ground. Her hood up, so like you can't see her face anymore. She's just like, God damn it. Brasma, damn it.
Calliope, you want to protect the town and see this through for Pharasma. Brip, you want to protect the town. I suppose I'm doing this for selfish reasons.
I will say I'm not sure it's the town I'm protecting, now that we've found, again, the need to purge undead, as I've said so many times before. That is my intention,
Yeah,
to make sure that the
say it
below
all
is
the time.
cleaned. Cleaned of those foul creatures. After that, my focus might shift to protecting the town, but currently, that is what I see as my main purpose here. Just to clarify.
I just look at Giddy.
You've been here longer than I have. Is it worth saving? Is it worth dying for you?
Giddy looks out the window from what little he can actually see out of it for a minute at some part of the town outside of the cathedral. Just for a couple, what feels like a good while, but it's really just a few seconds, and looks back at Silflay with a look of concern in his eyes, as well as some level of determination. And he looks down before fully answering and just says, you know, there are people in this town that I think are worth it. And then there's a whole lot who ain't. But I suppose that the ones that are worth protecting, maybe it's worth going down there again and stopping whatever this is before it gets here. And I won't lie to you, I have other motives for even being here in the first place. At least I call them my motives, but I don't even know how true that is anymore. It feels like I'm between a rock and a hard place, I suppose you could say. Even if I don't want to go down there, and I don't know how much of a choice I really have.
We were going to burn the playwright's office down. Do we need to burn the Scarnetti's mansion instead?
You could
As
try.
a fire warden, let's just say I have experience in this.
Well, hey, you could certainly try, I suppose. But even then, I don't know that that would put a stop to it. The family is far more crafty and far more deadly than I think people give them credit for. Titus himself ain't to be fucked with.
I've heard things, but I've done my best to avoid your people.
Yeah, Sheriff told me about the Scarnettis long ago, and I try to avoid their family, but that's why I was a little hesitant with working with you in the first place. But I see that you're different.
I don't blame either you for avoiding them. They're none too pleasant. Definitely not to me. They're barely pleasant with each other. But they control a lot of ground in this city. A lot of people. And, well, Titus is trying to gain a little bit of better reputation with the sheriff in particular. And that's part of the reason he sent me here.
As you say that, you realize that this is an election year.
I have a feeling that the reason that Titus is doing this now, more so than ever, is so whenever this big, fancy election season happens, Titus can win over some folks and gain more power than he already has.
Mayor.
It starts at mayor, but where does it end? Titus won't stop until he has full control of Sandpoint at the very least.
Does he have any ties to Xantus? Do you think this is... I mean, I'm pulling straws, but... you have to wonder.
You know, It wouldn't surprise me. He's got connections with most of the people in this town, so
Actually, you would know that they abject each other completely. They don't like Titus's biggest opposition is Xantus.
okay.
And the current mayor. The current mayor and Xantus are very good friends, and they know the history of the Scarnettis in the founding of Sandpoint and how kind of conniving they can
Is
be.
it
And murderous. They're conniving and
Kendra
murderous.
Deverin?
Yes, Mayor Deverin.
Mm.
Her founding family has a mansion on the outlook to the south of Sandpoint also.
Well, I'm sure they have some kind of connection, but it's not exactly positive. They're not on good terms. Truly, Titus and Xantus, as well as the mayor, well, they haven't seen eye to eye, so to speak. Xantus and the mayor are buddy-buddy, but Titus doesn't really have many friends in this city. Connections, yes. Friends, not so much.
I suppose that's welcome news.
Yeah, that's why whenever I was thirsty, I went to the Rusty Dragon or to the White Deer because I didn't want to run into any Scarnettis. That was the advice that Baylor gave me. I'm almost
Yeah.
like an unofficial deputy.
Yeah, I could see it. The only Scarnetti that goes there is me, pretty much. And I suppose that's because I don't really have any of the Scarnetti money.
It sounds like, maybe the question is, do you want to be a Scarnetti?
I think at that question, a look would flash over Giddy's eyes of fear, but also excitement at the notion of that. And just takes him a second, then looks back over at Silflay and says, yeah, the thoughts crossed my mind a few times, if I'm honest. I feel like I'm only with them because I've had to be. But what good has that really ever done me? It's why my ears are all fucked up. It's why I got scars all over my body that I can't even count. I think the only good thing about being a part of that family is technically that's how I met Iggy.
We don't have to be what others have made us. I'm still trying to escape what I was made to be. But you can choose not to. It's not easy. And it makes it hard. I don't have physical scars on my body. My leaves, my body, it always regrows. So all of my wounds, no one thinks I have. I don't have scars to show.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. When I imagine leaving them, where do I even go? What do I even do? It's been the only life I've ever known.
Oh, it's hard. I still, on occasion, do what I was asked to do, what I was made to do. Because that's part of my nature, but I'm trying to change it. That's why I don't really care what happens. Because if I've grown into something that I was not forced to be, then I'm happier than I was.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's why I wear the mask. Because my face, after so long, heals. So I always see what I was made to be. I cannot escape it.
Well, I don't know what you were made to be, Silflay, and I'm not gonna pry into your life. But I do know that one day I will happily burn down that twink stupid theater with you.
Yes, I know all the codes. I know the response time. This is not my first rodeo.
Oh no.
Didn't expect to be a party to arson. Yeah, Calliope's just been like cleaning her fingernails with a knife, like with a dagger, like leaned up against the wall during the majority of this conversation. I was like looked up and been like a few times, but this one really takes her aback of like, okay.
I think
she kind of just like looks up and is like, oh. I'm not gonna stop them, but not yet anyway.
in Brip's head, you hear him say, "We really hope they're thinking the building's going to be empty when they do it."
We'll make sure it's unopened at night too. Just no. You know, I truly don't want to be like the rest of them. Early on, I tried to be like them, and it just never felt right. And I hurt a lot of people, and I don't blame some of this town for looking at me like one of them. But eventually, after I've seen enough of Titus and his abuse, I had to change. I had to change direction. Iggy was somewhat responsible for that change. You can't really understand her the way I can, but in some ways, Iggy has been almost like a mother to me. And only I can hear her voice. And I remember when I first met her, sure, she may have torn some people's throats out, but she also protected me. So, I don't know, I suppose after I got to know Iggy more and hear from her and ask her questions, I realized that I don't have to be like them. Fire is not always meant for destruction. Sometimes fire is meant for good, for healing, renewal, rebirth. And Iggy's been the one to teach me a lot of that. So I know for everyone else, she just is a big cat made of fire, but for me, she's a lot more than that.
I think during this last part, Silflay's head has like dropped, you know, like in contemplation and really hearing everything. There's a noticeable posture difference in that this last bit of conversation has directly affected her. I look up after that and looking at you, Giddy.
You don't have to go back. I know what it's like to run, to escape, to be hunted. Admittedly, the Scarnettis have far more resources than what I left, but for what it's worth, I'll support you.
I think at that, Giddy, you can tell Giddy's holding back tears at that statement, as not many people in Giddy's life have really truly cared for him. Iggy is one of the few creatures that have ever shown him like unconditional kindness. So he looks down for a bit and looks back up and says, "Thank you, Silflay. Truly, I mean that with everything I got. And, you know, if nothing else, going back down there with you all, if it means I get to protect you in some way, then maybe it is worth it."
Nods and
We get trapped in abuse, but the danger we face down there, we choose that pain, and there's power in that, because we control it. We may not know the outcome, but we have control there.
Yeah, somewhat. As long as we don't touch the wrong doors, then we have a little bit of control of what goes on down there.
Or reach for the gems.
Or, hey, what gems? We don't talk about that.
The one I pulled out of the,
Calliope pulls the dagger out, opens it up. This gem.
Ah,
She
right,
has
that one.
That hidden gem.
That's
dagger.
the only one. There have been no others whatsoever. Not at all.
Yeah.
exactly.
There was one other gem we found, but this gem is not tangible. This gem is the friendship we've gained along the way.
I knew it was coming.
I was half expecting it to be the Jade Serpent thing.
Oh
Me
yeah,
too.
yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was good. Good roleplay, everyone.
Yeah.
Would now be a good time, potentially, to take a quick break, Robert.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see if there's any more conversation that you guys wanted to have
Honestly,
around but,
That was great.
I had a few things, but it never. Nope. Doesn't need to happen because it was much better this way.
Cody was pulling.
I was
on
gonna
the
bring it.
heartstrings.
I was gonna bring it down, and yeah, I was gonna ruin it. So no, that was very, very well done by you two.
All right, we'll be right back in just a couple of minutes here.
Oh yeah, true.
All right. Hello. Welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
That was some deep role play. Got pretty good stuff. Good stuff.
Lots of chills.
Lots of trauma bonding. A very strong bond it felt like between Giddy and Silflay there. Small folk abused, dealing with that trauma. Yes, it's probably like mid-afternoon at this point. Sun is still out, but dusk is just a couple hours away. I guess I've had some excellent conversation. Nobody in the cathedral's really been bothering you for anything, but yeah, what else are you guys doing or talking about? Have at it while I fix the cameras, please.
So everyone, go ahead, Dylan.
Nope.
So, everyone, I want to know what your position is on whether or not we should continue to keep this from the sheriff.
Oof.
I'll jump in here real quick. I think that we should wait until I can speak to Adrani. I really want to hear this from her. I don't want to jump to any conclusions until I can speak to her. Once that can happen, I'll bring you into that conversation and we can make a judgment from there. So the ritual won't immediately happen upon her arrival. I think we'll have a little bit of time to gather some more information from her. Then we can make a call.
I would like to at least tell the sheriff before the ritual happens.
If that's the play we decide to make, I wholeheartedly agree.
Okay.
But I just don't think we have all the necessary information. We tell the sheriff all of this, it causes more of a panic. We don't even know the whole story fully yet. So once we get more intel from Adrani, I'm more than happy to go see Baylor with you.
We
All
should.
right.
Perhaps first we speak to Broderick Quink.
The old guy? The old historian, yes.
Good idea.
There's so much
guy.
below the city. He might give some insights that we don't know, as well as any connections between the cathedral or other things that have happened. Asking a historian, I don't know if it would even draw any suspicion, considering that's his field of study. I imagine it would likely excite him.
Keep things
And-
broad and in hypotheticals.
Yes, and to be fair, it's been difficult for us these last couple of days. It would be nice to have more money to properly equip ourselves. I imagine a man of his status would reward information like we found.
It's a very good
I like
point.
your thinking.
So, can you wait until the morrow after to talk to the sheriff? Because we're going to have to walk by the sheriff to get to Quink's house.
Yes, I can do that.
Just stare at your little serpent there.
You would notice a more serious, more primal look in his eye. And you feel like you could see he's got control of this.
Yeah, I'm all in favor of waiting to tell the sheriff after we've had some other conversations. We don't need the police essentially getting involved in everything right away. We got guards all over our asses the whole time we're trying to work.
Well,
I do, real quick, Silflay, to your point, we could also unload some of this stuff that we've found below, not only to Broderick, but to blacksmiths, merchants, other people. Not saying that we need to do that immediately, but it's another way that we could accrue some coin.
You do have to pick up your armor, right?
Yes,
Perhaps we can
unfortunately.
barter there.
Yeah, that won't be able to happen until tomorrow morning, but if we happen to pass a jeweler or something of that ilk along the road, I'm not very familiar with this town, so I'm not sure if
I
on
know
the
all the
way
right
to-
places.
perfect. Well, if we happen to pass by one of these right places, we should offload some of this treasure that we won't be using.
It
Not
sounds
really
like
treasure,
a good
but-
idea. We could go
I'll
talk
go a little bit of
to Brodert, and then we'll get preparation done for our next trip down there before we get headed over or headed down.
Better to be prepared than dead. So, I'm a fan of this idea.
Yeah, I feel like we were pretty close to one of those, and we were the wrong one. So,
I happen to fully agree with you there.
To your Broderick's, then?
yes. Follow me. There's a little frog feet flapping.
All right. So you guys exit out of the room of Calliope's room, walk through the cathedral, and head eastward. You walk out of the courtyard into onto Church Street, and then Junker's Way to the east a few blocks. You get in front of the Old Light, which is this old and ancient lighthouse ruin, thought to be believed to be an ancient Thessalonian lighthouse. Just it's been here for hundreds of thousands of years, to be believed, and the focus and attention of the Rune Watchers faction, primarily headed and led by Broderick Quink, whose house is right next to it, directly south of the Old Light. The runes that you see are it looks like a curved half wall that stands at about 60 feet high. Anything inside and surrounding it, it's all just crumbles and ruins, and you might even see kids kind of kicking rocks at the bottom of it, throwing rocks at each other, ducking and hiding beneath or behind tall pieces of rubble. But it is a monument that people come to see. People kind of pointing and gawking. You might even see some Rune Watchers kind of notes out, pointing, smiling, taking notes also. As you approach Broderick's house to the south. It is a surprisingly tall building, about 3 stories tall. It's got a big front porch, simple wooden stairs that lead up to it, chairs and tables out front, but it is relatively empty. The porch looks like it's meant to entertain a few folk. If you were to come here on a day the Rune Watchers would meet, the porch would be full of these folk, talking, chatting, coming up with theories and rumors about what the Old Light was actually used for, or even just listening to Broderick talk about his own ideas and findings. And as you walk up to the porch, you get the scent of it smells like musty old man and old paper just kind of wafts out from any open windows. But yeah, how do you guys approach? The street looks relatively empty.
I think flashing back just a little bit to I'll walk over.
Sure.
Souffle would have kind of asked the group,
What exactly are we limiting what we're telling him? We've mentioned sort of be broad and general because we don't want to incite any further investigation. But if things are... Let's be fair, the Rune Watchers would employ individuals like us for further investigation, to secure objects. So I don't know if we're really fighting against a timeline if we're beginning to make decisions within the next day or so. The more forward we are with the information, the more leeway we're going to have, I imagine.
Well, what if we stop maybe by letting him see one of the objects we found from down there? Maybe that map or that dagger. Maybe something like that, just to start the conversation.
That makes sense. Do we say below Sandpoint, but not how we got down there? Sort of keep that kept to ourselves?
We could say that we have acquired it in a trade with a random man.
Just gonna outright lie to him.
If
Well-
if we do that though,
With a
he'll
random
likely
man.
require about the random man.
Sorry. That really got me. Sorry, Silflake, can you say that again? I didn't hear you over my laughter.
I imagine that a man of study like Broderick would inquire after the random man. I don't think it's in... Now, don't get me wrong, I think between Giddy and I, we could probably pull off a lie, but I don't feel like it's in our best interest to. This is a man that controls a faction of the city.
Okay.
Well, did you have something else, Britt? Oh, okay. Because Giddy was just going to say, well, to that point, though, if we show him the map of the dagger, and we tell him we found it beneath Sandpoint, but we don't tell him how we got there, I have a feeling that's going to become more of a questioning point for him. So, what if we just say we found it nearby?
Are we willing to say that we found it under Sandpoint if he presses and sort of use it as a bargaining chip?
Oh, what if we say we found it on Junkers Beach?
Do we want to lie?
It's a very large map. It didn't like wash ashore in a bottle. I feel like we have to say we found this under Sandpoint. No other questions. I feel like we're
Junk
maybe
Beach is
overthinking
under
this.
Sandpoint.
We could just say we found it under Sandpoint, and then look at him if he asks further questions, because I think that Silflay and I are good at just looking at people and maybe making them not ask more questions.
I
So,
mean, intimidation is a tactic.
we just have to look at him like, don't
Okay.
ask me more. And then she like looks down at you, Brip, like, don't ask me more.
That's what he's like.
Yeah.
So
And then she
intimidation.
winks at you. Like, see?
The Yamato.
I know that reference.
Nerds.
Well, I am of I am in the camp of saying as much as much as possible without giving away too much information. I don't want to lie to the man, but telling him our whole life story that has happened in the last 2 days below the boneyard will not be the best idea. Tell him what he needs to know to hopefully answer our questions, and tell him that if we're successful, we can give him more information soon. Again, I don't want to lie to him. We have no reason to.
You guys can do the talking.
That's what... Well, I agree. I was going to say a similar thing, Calliope, in that if we give him a hook, a reason to allow us to leave without questioning, yes, we'll return with more information or artifacts. That will protect...
Exactly. Tell him that there is still more to explore where we need to go, and we're hopeful that whatever information he can provide us now will help us successfully navigate that area to bring back more information for him. I think that will work.
Make sure to tell him that we come to him knowing he is the foremost expert in the field. Play on his ego a little bit.
Giddy and I can handle flattery, I think.
I'm pretty good at buttering people up.
I prefer to stare them down, but in this instance I can make an exception.
So I think
I think if we get to a point where something might come up, we could always go. I'm gonna to take a mechanic from another game. Just say we're gonna go back to us walking on the street real quick, play out a quick scene, and then come back into what we're doing. Just because there's so much that we idiots can't think of our smart characters needing to talk about at the time. I feel like so.
15-minute walk maybe. So
Yeah.
what'd you want to talk about?
Oh, I just mean like if we get into a conversation with Broader,
Oh,
and then
I
we're
see.
like,
The flashback to it. Okay, gotcha.
let's go figure out what we said on the walk over here about that maybe question,
All right,
and then
about
come
that
back
topic.
into it. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
That sounds good. Okay, so you guys good to approach and knock on the door? Who's doing that?
Brip would walk up and knock,
Okay.
but
Not
then
from
walk
around these
down
parts.
and go behind.
yeah.
so he's-
He agreed. Yeah. he didn't
So I imagine, unless Giddy steps back, I imagine Giddy and I all sort of adjacent to each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys are on the
Giddy
porch.
kind of takes a more like nobleman stance in a way, like really prim and proper.
Okay.
Silflay is not prim and proper. She's just standing there like a little creep with her mask on.
All right.
up.
Awesome. Yeah. So you guys walk up to the porch. Rip, you knock on the door. Step back behind Giddy and Silflay. Calliope's positioned behind them too, I'm assuming, or where's
Calliope's wherever she is, she's probably sticking out like a sore thumb, being twice as tall and fully clad in black with a white face paint. So I think she's probably standing behind, and maybe Brip like gets a little bit like sidles up a little bit almost beside her. But I think she's kind of just standing in the back, like I'm not from here. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know what's going to happen. So she's kind of just like letting the more local group lead what's going on here.
Okay. So after you knock, Rip, you hear the sound of hold on, I'll be right there. And then you hear like shuffling of papers and books. Maybe you hear like a book close, and maybe some things kind of get knocked over as the door to this house swings open quite quickly. Actually, you're surprised at how quick the door opens, and you see this man in his advanced age, very wise and inquisitive looking, extremely bald head, bushy white eyebrows, and a pretty well-groomed goatee. Maybe it looks even freshly trimmed. Round spectacles that rest on his nose. His attire it consists of like warm earth-tone robes, checkered pattern cloak around his shoulders and neck. But he kind of bursts outward with a lot of energy. Seems very spry and agile for his age. Definitely smells like an old man, though, as the breeze he brings with him kind of wafts outward and onto the porch and through all of you. You catch a deep breath of it. And it smells of, it mixes with the smell of a warm tea that seems to be brewing from within also. And he kind of leaves the door open, hanging his right hand on the knob, kind of fixes his spectacles with his left hand and looks kind of squints and looks over to Giddy, then Silflay, and then to Calliope and Rip. He's like, well, what do we have here?
I have to say, before we jump into this conversation, this is one of the most fantastic NPC portraits. It's just
Truly.
this is one of my favorite characters. This individual does not have step on me energy, but they are absolutely fantastic.
They have more of please crack my back energy, like that kind of old man energy.
Yeah.
I really like. Look at the details in the eyelashes. It's like, damn. That's
He also
Pretty-
looks
it's a
like
pretty old man.
he also looks like he's gonna tell me to whistle while I work.
He is a pretty old man.
yeah.
God,
Yeah, but he
Hurt my
opens
eyes how
the
hard I rolled
door.
them.
I feel like he makes the Mrs. Doubtfire sound. Ooh.
Oh, his nails
Yeah.
though. He needs to take care of those.
Oh yes, his nails are a little yellowed and maybe even a little cracked.
Yeah.
Some lotion.
What do we
but-
have here?
Hello, I'm Sylphley, and these are my companions. Master, Master Quink, we wanted to entreat upon you and ask about some Thessalonian lore, and we were hoping you'd be amenable to that, and perhaps we could show you some things as well.
Oh well, I would be very interested in that. Yes. Have I worked with you before?
No,
Broke Dylan already.
No, but you've possibly. I've been in Sandpoint for the last couple of years, and I've seen you in passing.
You're Sylphway. I have heard of you.
Yes, I work with the fire wardens.
Yes, Sylphway. And who are your friends here?
Dylan.
I'm trying to hold it together, which makes you laugh that much harder. When you're trying not to laugh, it makes you laugh harder.
And,
It's a proven fact.
Please, Sylphway, don't call me Master Quink. I find that very off-putting. If you don't mind, you can just call me Broadert. Or just Quink. Or Broadert Quink. Either is fine.
Roderick is fine. Yes. This is Giddy. Calliope is the tall one in the back, and of course Brip. You may have seen Brip around. He is
Hi there.
almost like a local folk hero himself, with how much work he does for the town.
Oh gosh.
Calliope gives a little side eye, like, huh? Just catching the flattery, extra, like, bumping up.
Giddy, mostly because Giddy has something that I would like to use, but Giddy kind of gets himself together and says to Mr. Quink, "Ah, yes, well, I have heard of you and the land of Sandpoint before, good sir," and completely different accent. And heard much of your work, so I wanted to introduce myself and my companions here in order to perhaps gain some of your knowledge, as Giddy would like to use society to make an impression via his feat, courtly graces.
Wow. Yeah, Calliope is like, what the fuck is happening? Like, just
Yeah.
like looking at, like, we just had this great like bonding moment. Like, she really feels like she knows these characters, like these other people. And now she's like, I don't even know anything. This is what the fuck.
Yeah, I
she's
think
just like looking down at them.
I think as Giddy, you say this, I kind of like look back quickly, like almost like I'm surprised, and I look at you and kind of bow my head a little bit. Like,
I'm sorry, Giddy. I didn't mean to get so ahead. I was just really excited to talk. I've heard a lot about Master Quink. Sorry, Broderick.
and I'll take a step back.
Oh no, of course I'm not offended at all, my dear friend. I simply wanted to give the gentle lady a chance to speak before I spoke. So, no offense is taken.
Yeah, Calliope's doing that Tom DeLonge Blink 182 meme where he has the wig on. He's just like,
Okay. So that feat is it just gives you a +1 circumstance bonus to any checks with the NPC. Is that right?
Um,
I think make an impression is like a specific thing,
yeah,
right?
because there is make an impression, which is what I was rolling for.
Okay.
Yeah,
Would-
and then I do get a +1 circumstance bonus to the normal skills, quote unquote, in that situation, which I think would be like diplomacy or something else. I think, based on what I'm reading. Oh yeah, diplomacy. So maybe, I mean, depending on what Giddy's, I need to double check. What is Giddy's?
So I'll just take that make an impression, and
Oh, I actually have better diplomacy. I should have just rolled that.
I'll just take that check and apply it to this situation, and he is going to kind of focus on you for a second and squint. Just interesting. Giddy, you did you say you're Scarnetti?
Yes, good sir. I am indeed a part of the Scarnetti family. A more recent addition, one might say.
Well, I He kind of pauses, he kind of looks down a little bit, looks back up. Well, let's see what you have for me, I suppose. I'm happy to take a look, but if you want me to, I do charge for my services.
As any good businessman should.
Yes. You're more than welcome to come in, or we can take a look at the items here.
We were perhaps hoping for trades. Maybe we can come in, show you, and before you render judgment or information, you can determine if this is worth an exchange, or if indeed we do need to pay for your services.
Yes, come in. I just put a warm pot of tea on. And he turns around and just walks through the door, leaving the door open for you guys to follow.
Oh goodness, that voice is so hard to keep up. For the love of Caden.
Well, I don't know that he approves of your adoption last name.
Yeah, you know, he didn't seem too fond, and I probably should have just used my other name, but I'm so used to introducing myself as a Scarnetti in that type of situation.
Understandable. Just something to keep in mind.
Well, let's not keep the man waiting.
And I'll walk in.
All right.
What kind of tea he's got?
You follow him in to his home, and it looks disheveled. There are piles of books everywhere, papers scattered everywhere. There's a cat that you can smell but don't see.
That's always how it is.
You are.
That was a roller coaster right there for me. I was like, yeah. Oh.
But yeah, just piles of books. You can't see any furniture. And he kind of just clears off quickly what you think is a coffee table from the center of the room. And just like large rolls of maps and old and dead pottery plants. Or pottery? What are they called? Planters? That's the word. Words!
Pottery plants.
Potted plants.
Potted?
The ceramic bits.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, my favorite plant, the pottery plant. It's ceramic.
The plant holders. Yeah, so gives you guys space to put your items down on, and he plops down in front of you. Dust and old papers just fly as he sits
Ew.
down.
I think without thinking about it, out of habit, is when all the dust shoots up, I just prestidigitation, and then I kind of tuck my hand down. I
He doesn't even
apologize.
notice.
I just stop. I'm like, right. Look.
Well, what do you have? Let's see.
Yeah, Calliope's going to pull out the map
Ooh, it's
and
a
lay it out on the
large map.
table. Yeah, I put it in the stash, but yeah, she pulls it out, unrolls it, nice and flattens it as best as she can, and kind of takes a pottery plant and puts it on each corner to keep it flat and unrolled.
His eyes immediately go wide. His face scrunches, and he takes his hand and begins brushing underneath his goatee with a lot of interest. And he, from out of nowhere, he procures a magnifying glass and starts to inspect the map, and he kind of begins to mumble underneath his breath, like, "Oh, this ancient Thessalon. Yes, oh, yes, I could see. Zin. This was yes. I see. Oh, wow. This is quite a find. This map, it shows the region that we're in now. It is this might even confirm my theory."
What's your theory?
Oh, well, I've spouted my theory for years and years that the old light was never actually a lighthouse, but a weapon of mass destruction. A tower that would emit fire against Thessalonians' enemies in any direction they would choose. But the mechanisms to control them have been lost to time, as far as my research has shown. But yes, this map is key to furthering this research.
There is more where that came from.
I kind of look at the group.
I suppose we were wondering if you would perhaps want to sponsor us to acquire more of these artifacts. Britt, can you give him a sneak peek at least of the other one we found?
Oh, this one? and Brip is gonna pull out his emerald. Is it an emerald? I need to go back to my character sheet. Sorry.
I think it was. Sorry, that very old scroll.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Which
yeah.
hopefully you have been protecting when you were laying up on top of the spire.
That's in our party stash.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. I don't know.
Yes. Here.
Okay.
Careful. And he would like climb down like over the wall to bring it to you.
Yeah, what wall? Oh, the wall of books. Okay. Let me see.
Passes it over to Silflay.
Yeah, and I think sort of just to continue this diplomatic display, I would use the gentle hold of prestidigitation as I did before to kind of hold it in the air and bring it forth. So we haven't necessarily unrolled it yet. I guess I'm waiting for his reaction.
Okay. Let me... who had the scroll? Was it actually Silflay?
I had found it, but I had given it to Brip initially for safekeeping. So if it makes sense that I had it at that point.
Oh, I'm just trying to locate the...
Oh, it was put in the party stash.
Okay. Sorry. Let's see.
That's what I got confused about. I was looking at my character sheet. I was like, oh.
I see the map. Hold on, I can pull it up here. Because it's got the
Let's go.
descriptions inside of it. Okay, so where are you?
I'm so sorry.
Aha.
You guys are going to rock songs, and my mind is just playing. It's a map. I'm just going Dora the Explorer.
As you should.
Uh, okay, so what was your ask again? I apologize. Took me a second to find it.
We've brought up the map, mentioned a sneak peek, so it's not it's not unrolled yet. It's just kind of being held aloft in the air via prestidigitation, and gauging his reaction after he saw the larger map and is now seeing clearly this. I'm not sure if it's older paper, but tattered, right? Much more fragile.
Yes. Okay, so he says, this is all very interesting. Where did you say you found these items?
I look back at Calliope and sort of wait for a nod.
Calliope kind of like rolls her head and it's like, well, to be honest, we didn't say.
Ah, well, how did you come across such rare items?
There are.
Calliope nods now to you, Silfway, like you can she's pressing more than I'm comfortable continuing to speak is what that nod says. So
Right. Yeah. I seem to like change direction in speech from
There are. Well, we found these beneath Sandpoint.
He nods with exuberance. Oh. Again, this further proves my theories. Yes, I knew there was much more below Sandpoint than what those other adventurers had found. Excellent. These artifacts are worth, I'll give you, I'd be more than happy to pay you for the map and that scroll. If that's what you are looking for in terms of sponsorship.
That would be useful, I suppose. We were also curious about information.
Oh,
None of us read Thessalonian, so
I would be happy to share my findings after translating. It would take just a few minutes.
that would be fantastic.
I'm
And
very versed in Thessalonian and Aslanti.
if you're interested in more artifacts, perhaps we can bring more to you.
That would be wondrous. He says,
there's a hiccup. Sorry.
he hands you, he procures 25 gold pieces and throws it on the table. For the map and the scroll.
Do we know what the scroll does yet?
not
Yeah,
yet.
it has yet to be unfurled. I imagine it's kind of floating with the prestidigitation above the map.
Could be a scroll of wish.
Before we... You're quite generous. Can you translate these before we make an exchange?
He kind of squints.
I suppose we are looking for sponsorship, but almost more of a partnership in this, because we are going to find more artifacts. We're going to go back below Sandpoint. So we are seeking... It is painful to go down there, so we certainly need support in equipment but were not armed with the appropriate information all the way.
Well, I would be more than happy to pay for any artifacts you find from these ancient times,
Perfect.
such as this map. I would love to own this. That's why I'm offering the gold pieces, and I'm not sure what that scroll would have in it. It must be of some import.
Why don't we take a look at it? Gold and insight would be an excellent trade.
He nods. He says, "Well, what would you like me to look at first?"
Well, that one's already out.
The map. So that's what you're referring to, right?
Yeah, so I was gesturing to the larger map since we haven't unfurled the scroll yet.
Okay. So you guys can clearly see that the map is of this region, but not covered in so much water. This region was highly elevated, some hundred. Oh, I forget how long ago was Earthfall. At least 10,000 years ago, right?
I
Something
think it's
like
like
that.
10, yeah, roughly
10,000 years ago. He's like, oh yes, this coastline where we are was called the Rasp, and he points to the Thessalonian writing right next to where about Sandpoint, modern day Sandpoint would be. Yes, this coastline where we are located is called the Rasp, it says, and then this marker, he points to the shape of a lighthouse where the old light would be. He says, this says HF compound. And he nods and he says, yes, this is confirming everything I thought about the old light. HF is short for the Hellstorm Flume. And he kind of looks at you guys for any kind of response. You don't know. I guess you... Okay, I will tell you about the Hellstorm Flume. You see, many... Oh, I did tell you a little bit. This is the device that the Thessalonians used to defend their homes against invaders. The Aslanti, the Cyclops. It was quite an amazing device.
What was it powered with?
The ancient Thessalonian magic was powered through sin magic. Through the use of pools, rune wells is what the rune lords would use. Each rune lord had a sin specifically harnessed for their usage. They would collect the souls of their followers or mark them to collect the power of the sin that would enter the well, in which then would be used to power any number of devices, machinations, or magics that they could create. It's quite amazing.
Souffle here gets a little too excited and gets beyond the control. What I keep forgetting because her name is long and complicated but cool. What is the rune lord that we found on the door?
A Lasnist.
A Lasnus. So Souffle sort of bursts out.
What sin did Alasnus have?
Oh, you're familiar with Lasnus. She was perhaps the most brutal of all the rune lords. The sin she was associated with was wrath. For many, many years, she used the sin magic of wrath to rule over her realm known as Bakrahan. I have a map of that also, but this was rumored to be a region she controlled here along the Verisian Gulf. He he kind of gets excited. You see him kind of like visibly shaking with excitement as he's coming to this realization. And let me see here. Is this it? Yes. Yes, we believe that this was one of many Hellstorm flumes that Runelord Alasnus used to protect her nation's eastern border, with the help of Runelord Karzug of his nation of Shalast. Despite the name, though, it has no association with Hell itself. It was called Hellstorm for its ability to emit a flume of searing fire at extraordinary ranges to blast approaching armies for miles with a devastating inferno.
Souffle is just nodding, and you see that the curiosity is getting the better of her as she's losing more. She's losing control of holding back information.
Okay.
So she's definitely getting more eager about this conversation. And I imagine, maybe other people are kind of flashing back to like, no, we don't tell him all this stuff.
I think
But-
Calliope's like, what? just like enraptured with the shit he is saying.
Yeah. I know it is quite late for a friend.
Oh, yes.
However,
Yes, please.
All right, so let's is there any other pent-up questions you want to ask or inform Broderick? here?
Souffle would love to continue the conversation. But I don't want to kill Cody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can just cut it there then, with Souffle trying to hold back from revealing more information, and Boadot Quink very excited, visibly shaking. Maybe to break the excitement, his cat jumps up on a bookcase nearby, comes crashing down, and we'll leave it there for next week. So thank you all for watching this very roleplay heavy episode of Whispers of Doom. I had a lot of fun. There's a lot of trauma bonding, which is cool to see. Yeah. It was,
As cool as trauma bonding
as
can
cool,
be.
as cool as that could be. It was awesome seeing that between Souffle and Giddy. So until next time, maybe we can get a scene of Calliope and Brip bonding over their traumas next time. But until then, don't forget to
Pretty traumatized.
Live,
life.
die,
and die.
Die,
Bye
die. Good night.
bye. Bye bye, everybody. Bye,
Bye.
says bye bye.